Marcus Lee had built an empire by seeing what others missed. Behind the glass walls of his skyscraper office, he watched reports pour in, numbers, trends, logistics. But something felt off. Too many shipments unaccounted for, too many internal whispers just out of reach. He needed answers, not from the boardroom, but from the ground. So he disappeared. No one noticed when the CEO of Lee Global quietly became Mark, the new night guard at one of his warehouses. The uniform itched. The hours dragged. But it was exactly what he needed: silence and shadows to observe. He kept his head down, nodded at passing employees who barely glanced his way, and listened. Always listened. Most people dismissed him. Some tossed their trash near his post without a word. Others grumbled when he checked their IDs, annoyed at his thoroughness. They saw a nobody in a cheap uniform. He let them. That was the point. Except her. She came every morning before sunrise, pushing a squeaky cart loaded with roasted sweet potatoes. The steam curled up into the cold air, and her smile never wavered, even when people ignored her or barked at her to move. She wore a denim apron and fuzzy bear ears on her head like it was a crown. When she first approached him, Marcus had instinctively reached for his wallet. "No charge," she said, handing him a hot sweet potato wrapped in parchment. "Looks like you've been out here all night." He stared at it. "I didn't ask for this." "You didn't have to," she said simply. Then she turned and went back to her cart. It wasn't just the gesture, it was that she'd looked at him. Really looked. Like he mattered. After that, it became a routine. She brought him breakfast. He started arriving earlier just to catch her. They didn't talk much at first. He'd ask how sales were, she'd shrug and tell him about the weather. But he started paying attention to her the way he paid attention to stock prices. Carefully. She remembered people's orders. She noticed when someone limped or came in with tired eyes. Once, she told Marcus that a warehouse worker looked shaken. "Maybe you should check in on him," she said. He did. The man was involved in something he shouldn't have been, minor but telling. Marcus logged it mentally. She had an eye for people. He asked her name. She smiled. "Lily. And you're Mark, right?" He nodded. "Yeah. Just a guard." She said, unconvinced. "You don't talk like one." The way she said it, it wasn't accusatory. Just observant. Like she was used to people hiding things. Like she was hiding things too. Marcus started taking note. Not just of her, but of everything. Who came in late. Which truck drivers double-checked manifest. Who avoided his gaze. Who Lily said looked off. He trusted her instincts more than the cameras. He noticed something else too. She never complained. Even when the wind picked up or customers walked away without paying. She'd quietly reposition her cart, tuck her hair behind her ear, and carry on. There was a strength to her, quiet, unshakable. One morning, after a long, bitter shift, Marcus stood with his hands in his jacket pockets, staring at her cart. "You ever think of doing more with this?" he asked. "More?" She raised an eyebrow. "It's just potatoes." "No. It's how you treat people." She laughed. "That doesn't pay rent." "It should," he said quietly. She looked at him again, thoughtful. "You talk like someone who hasn't worried about rent in a long time." He said nothing. She didn't push. The days blurred. Every moment spent at the warehouse was another thread in a pattern Marcus was slowly unraveling. But Lily was different. She was a constant in the chaos, predictable in her kindness, but unpredictable in her insights. She saw what others missed, just like him. Except she didn't need a disguise to do it. "You said." Lily didn't need to talk much to be noticed, not by Marcus. While others overlooked her, she watched everything. She saw the security van that always showed up late but never logged in. She heard workers muttering about missing packages. She noticed when a forklift driver, usually precise, suddenly became sloppy the day after a supervisor scolded him behind closed doors. Marcus didn't miss what she saw. He started testing her. "You see that guy in the gray cap?" he asked casually. "Yeah," she replied. He used to take the long route around the warehouse. Now he cut straight through. Like he's avoiding someone. She wasn't trying to be helpful. She was just stating facts, like someone who'd spent her life learning to read people to survive. Every time she brought him food, he brought her questions. She didn't ask why he cared. She just answered. She'd seen patterns, shifts in tone, changed routines. "Something's wrong in that building," she said once. "Feels off." No drama, no exaggeration, just certainty. Lily worked hard. Not because she was ambitious, but because survival didn't allow her to relax. She'd been laughed at during a job interview once because she didn't wear the right shoes. She'd saved for months to buy the sweet potato cart. She didn't complain, she adapted. It made her dangerous in the best way, always alert, always underestimated. She wasn't supposed to matter in Marcus's plan. She was an observer, an outsider. But she was noticing the same cracks he was. Worse, she was seeing things before he did. She warned him about the driver with mismatched paperwork that led him to a supply chain reroute he hadn't authorized. She mentioned a man who lingered near the back exit too long. That led him to a camera with tampered footage. Marcus followed her instincts and found answers. Not guesses. Proof. She didn't ask for credit. In fact, when he praised her, she deflected. "Just making conversation," she'd say. But he saw the truth. Lily had better instincts than half his executive. Still, she kept her distance. He offered to buy more from her. She refused. "You don't need to pretend I'm special just because I gave you a potato." It wasn't modesty, it was protection. She'd learned not to trust people who suddenly started paying attention. But Marcus wasn't trying to flatter her. He was watching her do what great leaders do, notice what no one else sees, act when no one else will, and never demand recognition. She embodied what his entire company was supposed to stand for: quiet strength. The more time he spent around her, the more he realized something. Everyone else at the warehouse acted like they were too important for their job. Lily acted like her job was too important to do carelessly. And she never once treated him like he was beneath her. Marcus had trusted his instincts all his life. They had built empires. Now, they were telling him the real key to unraveling the sabotage wasn't in the files or cameras. It was walking the sidewalk every morning, selling sweet potatoes and exposing lies without even knowing it. She wasn't just kind. She was sharp. And Marcus was beginning to wonder if this woman, invisible to everyone else, might be the most powerful ally he had. The closer Marcus looked, the messier it got. Inventory logs didn't match dispatch record. The same truck IDs appeared at different facilities on the same night. Signatures were forged with just enough effort to fool someone who wasn't looking. But Marcus was looking, and so was Lily. She mentioned a vendor who argued with a manager near the loading dock, loud enough for her to hear. Something about an unpaid shipment that was marked as cleared. That manager resigned the next day without explanation. Marcus cross-referenced the date. The missing inventory spike lined up exactly. He started pulling badge records. One night, Lily casually asked why a certain shift supervisor had started driving a new car. "Seems too nice for a warehouse salary," she said. She wasn't accusing, just observing. But Marcus knew what that meant. He reviewed that supervisor's login data. Access granted to restricted storage zones. Security footage mysteriously corrupted on those days. It wasn't random. Someone inside was scrubbing tracks. Lily spotted the pattern in behavior before he found it in the data. Then she told him about the man in the gray jacket. He never buys anything. Just walks by slow every morning. Like he's timing something. Marcus checked route logs. Every time that man passed by, a shipment delay happened within the hour. That wasn't coincidence. Marcus tested the theory. He rerouted one truck unannounced. It arrived without issue. The next day, the man in gray didn't show. Someone was watching the warehouse from outside, feeding info to someone inside. It was deeper than Marcus had guessed. This wasn't laziness. This was coordinated theft, structured sabotage. And they were good, too good for anyone in the office to catch. But not good enough for a CEO in a guard uniform. And not good enough to fool a street vendor with sharp eyes. Lily had no idea how valuable her intel was. To her, she was just sharing odd things she noticed. Marcus saw it differently. She was handing him puzzle pieces others wouldn't even recognize. He started logging every conversation, every shift change, every time Lily mentioned something that felt off. A pattern formed: names, schedules, deviations. The network of insiders wasn't large, but it reached high. Too high. He needed more than suspicion. He needed undeniable proof. And to get that, he needed Lily's eyes. She was already paying attention. Now, he had to ask more of her. So he told her. Not everything, just enough. There's something wrong inside, he said. I think you see it too. She didn't look surprised. I've seen people try to hide dirt before. Doesn't stay hidden long. Would you help me look closer? She hesitated. You're not just a guard. No. She nodded once. All right. It wasn't agreement. It was alliance. Quiet. Serious. Real. From that moment, she became more than an observer. She became his partner in the dark. Lily started paying closer attention, but she didn't change her routine. That was the brilliance of it. She remained invisible. Just a vendor with a cart, passing through like always. But her eyes sharpened. She listened longer, lingered near arguments, watched who slipped out early or returned with different clothes. She caught fragments others dismissed. Marcus armed her with just enough information to know what mattered. Employee names, shift, license plates, routes. In return, she gave him moments that broke the case wide open. A nighttime delivery scheduled under a fake name. A technician accessing servers he had no clearance for. A middle manager meeting in a dark corner of the lot at 5:47 a.m. Not once, but regularly. They worked like two ends of a current. He sifted through the data. She spotted human cracks. No one saw it coming. Then a security audit was triggered, supposedly routine, but Marcus hadn't authorized it. That meant someone higher up knew something was unraveling. The rats were nervous. A new team arrived with clipboards and questions, but they weren't interested in real answers. Their eyes skimmed. Their notes were thin. Marcus watched them and realized they were part of the cover. He knew now this wasn't just theft. This was internal rot. High level. Protected. Lily kept finding inconsistencies. The vendor who paid double for standard access. A supervisor who pulled a disappearing act whenever certain shipments were logged. She didn't understand the full scope, but she understood people, and she trusted her gut. Then the warning came. A slashed tire on her cart. A note tucked beneath. Keep quiet. She didn't tell Marcus until days later. Didn't want to distract you, she said, like it wasn't a threat, just another annoyance. But Marcus saw the line being crossed. This was no longer just sabotage. They were trying to silence her. He arranged protection quietly. A new cart with reinforced wheels. Security patrols subtly adjusted to trail her path. Lily noticed. This isn't just about money, is it? She asked. No, he said. It's about control. And someone willing to burn everything to keep it. She nodded. Then let's burn them first. From that moment they operated without hesitation. Marcus embedded trackers in outgoing cargo. Lily watched who took alternate paths after drop-off. They flagged meetings that had no paper trail. Every discovery fed into a growing map of the conspiracy. Lily became his most trusted asset. She never asked for credit. She never asked for reward. But she never missed a detail. She was still overlooked by everyone around her, and that made her the most dangerous person in the building. The final link came from a face Lily had seen 100 times. A tall man in an expensive coat who always walked too confidently through the loading bay. He never glanced her way, never touched a box, never signed a form. But he didn't belong. She'd told Marcus before. He looks too polished for this place. Marcus had dismissed it. Now he regretted it. The man was Victor Ng, head of operations for 3 divisions. Marcus dug deeper. Victor's name never appeared on shipment schedules, but his access logs showed midnight entries. He had quietly pushed for new vendors, revised shipping routes, and approved hires with vague background. One of them was the warehouse manager now under investigation. Victor wasn't just part of the scheme. He was orchestrating it. Marcus pulled everything. Emails, badge records, internal memos. Patterns emerged. Every anomaly, every loss, every tampered file pointed back to Victor's desk. And Victor wasn't working alone. A quiet alliance with a procurement officer, 2 site managers, and even one of Marcus's own assistants, all carefully placed, all protecting each other. Marcus had built this company from nothing. Now it was being gutted from the inside. He didn't confront them. Not yet. He'd learned from Lily. Let people think they're unseen, then catch them when they move. So he baited them. A fake shipment scheduled under an alias. Sensitive tech with a falsified manifest. Only a handful of people knew. He watched who accessed it, who followed the trail, who asked no questions. The web lit up. Lily confirmed movement that night. That man in the coat? He looked nervous for once. The trap worked. Victor made his move. The warehouse manager logged the delivery. A driver rerouted the truck to an unauthorized checkpoint. Cameras had been wiped, but Marcus had backups. Hidden lines, invisible to the regular system. Every step was recorded. By morning, Marcus had enough. He returned to the boardroom, no longer a nameless guard. He laid out the entire operation in brutal clarity: names, numbers, footage, timestamp. Executives fell silent. Some denied. Some begged. Victor walked out mid-meeting, but Marcus had already locked his account. The company didn't collapse. It realigned. The rot was cut out. Lily didn't show up that morning. Her cart was missing. No message, no goodbye. But a box was waiting in Marcus's office. Inside, a single roasted sweet potato, still warm, wrapped in parchment with a short note: "You saw me. That's all I ever needed." He didn't smile. He just sat down, peeled it open, and ate in silence. Weeks passed. The company stabilized, leaner and sharper. Systems were rebuilt from the ground up. Marcus replaced layers of bloated oversight with direct lines of accountability. People noticed. Quiet workers got promoted. The invisible were invited in. Culture shifted, subtle but real. He kept waiting to see Lily again. Every morning, he walked past the spot where her cart used to sit. It never returned. One afternoon, he followed a rumor. A vendor with a quiet smile was serving food near a university, mentoring students who needed second chances. He found her under a tree, surrounded by kids asking questions about life, not business. She didn't look surprised to see him. "I figured you'd come eventually," she said, handing him a sweet potato. "You vanished," he replied. "I didn't belong in your world," she said. "But I helped clean it." He didn't argue. She was right. She never wanted a spotlight. She wanted dignity, safety, and to be seen on her own terms. He offered her a new role anyway: consultant, advisor, partner. Whatever she wanted. She declined. "I already have a job," she said, gesturing to the group around her. "Helping people see what they can be. Kind of like what you did eventually." He didn't push. He respected her more for saying no. Before he left, she said one more thing. "You weren't strong because you were a CEO. You were strong when you were just a man listening." He carried that with him. It shaped the way he led from then on. And every quarter, without fail, a box arrived at his office. Always unmarked. Always containing one perfect roasted sweet potato. He never told anyone who sent them. Some things were meant to be quiet. Some people changed the world without needing credit. Some leaders rose not by commanding, but by finally seeing the ones no one else did.